Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Good afternoon, everybody, or welcome to the Pop-Off. I say good morning, and I messed up. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pop-Off. Gene FitzMagic, Caleeb Pinkett, AB Washington. What's going on, guys?
Yo.
What's up?
I'll be back for the first time in a minute. It's been a while.
I know. I was going to tell you, it's still morning here, so technically it's good morning.
9 a.m.
That's true. For you guys, it's still the AM. That's still the AM. Good morning to you guys. A lot going on in some sports, and everything's starting to pick up now, too, guys. We got camps opening up. Jets opened up today. Just this morning, so we're going to start being able to talk about off-season, like real off-season news now with the football teams in the NFL. But there's also a lot going on with the off-season basketball. We're going to finish up our off-season basketball outlook today. Before we get into that, though, how's everybody feeling? How you doing, Caleeb?
I can't complain. All good, brother. How are you?
I'm good. How about you, Abby?
Just trying to survive the Arizona heat.
Oh my God,
I can't even imagine what it's like down there, but.
Yeah.
I'm trying to survive. I just started going keto. I just started a keto diet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, for someone who eats a lot of pasta and stuff, I am really like having a hard time. I'm day 4 and I might be a little cranky.
Yeah, those zucchini noodles don't replace.
They don't cut it.
Pasta.
No, I haven't even tried those because I refuse to, but yeah, I need some carbs, man. I'm really fading. I need some carbs. So hopefully this thing works and I can
you got it. So you can't have like what about complex carbs like brown rice, like sweet potato, like things like that?
I think I can have that stuff in moderation. I just started, so I'm still looking up nutritious dishes because so far.
So explain to me keto, so I just know because
it's low carb, high protein, high fat, low carb. Well, not zero carbs. Like you can have some carbs, but
so what carbs do you eat?
So right now, basically I started off a little bit more hardcore than anything. So I haven't really eaten any carbs at all. Like I went to the supermarket and I basically looked for the 0 carb bread. I looked for the 0 carb, which I didn't get only because they have white bread and I don't eat white bread. So I'm looking for like a whole wheat zero. I don't even know if they make it. Maybe they don't make it. But I found some ice cream that's 0 carb ice cream.
Wow.
So I haven't. Now I know I'm allowed up to a certain amount of grams of carbs per day. I went total 0 for the first week, and then just to kind of like
don't
shock
do that.
my system.
That's too much of a shock for your body, right? It's like you gotta because carbohydrates are great for you, right? It's just we eat like bad carbs, so you're eating white breads and flours and stuff. But like brown rice is great, sweet potatoes are great. Oatmeal are great. Quinoa has more protein than carb, right? It's a protein replacer, right? So like you wanna consume like those because they're complex. So that means they just take a long time for your body to break it down. So that way it gives you more energy. It's so you stay energized because that's all carbs do is it fuels you. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't want to go 0, brother, because then you'll crash.
That's kind of what's happening.
Yeah, it's like you're doing it wrong. Like no, give yourself some. Don't go and get spaghetti, the white pasta and all that. Like Caleeb said, I said no. Brown rice, white sweet potato, like those. You know what I mean? Like
yams.
Get that, and just you could put a little. You could get that like I can't believe it's not butter, so it's like really clean, and add a little honey to it, so it gives it a little sweet pop. And go ahead, I eat that every single day. Every single day I eat a yam. Every single day. It's my favorite carb. And it keeps me full, like, and I don't mean full like stomach wise. I mean full like it fills your body up, like your muscles, everything looks big. And you drink water. That's why it's called carbohydrate. The carb mixed with water expands, right? So like, yeah. Yeah,
I was eating the bad carbs. Like I don't think
you were. We all do. Those
like a Milky Way doesn't have good carbs, right? Milky Way doesn't have the good carbs.
No. I don't think so. But they might. They might have the. Who knows what Milky Way? You know what I mean? They've been around for almost 100 years, so they might. Actually, they have. It's 2023. They've probably been around 100 years, or at least close. At least
definitely.
Close to it.
Yeah, as soon as I find that low carb Snickers, I'll be all right, man.
Listen, you got to come to LA for those. They got spinach flavored Snickers out here. And
Get out of
I'm just
town.
teasing. I'm like,
I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised, man.
frozen broccoli pops. You know.
Well, I found a really good strawberry yogurt pop that to me has been so good, and it's got like no carbs in it.
No,
so.
yogurt is good too. Like all those things are like the sweet tooth replacers, just for people that like, you know, like really have a sweet tooth. Those are like healthier
I can
options.
send you a couple of Instagram pages that I come across, and they post nothing but keto recipes.
Oh,
so
I appreciate that.
It might help.
That's great.
A lot of air fryer stuff, real quick.
Yep.
I air fried some hot wings this morning because I found out buffalo wings have like only like 1 gram of carbs, so I ate buffalo wings for breakfast.
You were like, "This is great."
Now you're smothering it in ranch.
No, I didn't even do that. I ate them just raw. Put them in the air fryer. Took them out. Ate them crispy.
You get them crispy, it's the best ever. Like I can only, that's how I love my stuff. I put everything in the air fryer. Everything.
Typically, I would do eggs. I usually do eggs every morning, but my the pan was the pan that I used to cook my eggs wasn't clean, and I didn't have the dishwasher set to put it in. So I'm like, all right, I'll just
wait a minute. So you mean to tell me you couldn't run some water, take a sponge with the scrubber side, put some soap on it, and clean it yourself in 15-30 seconds?
You know what? Our producer Patty Puddles will tell you. I am such a germaphobe with kitchen sponges. They're not clean enough. Like Caleb, if I come to visit you one day, right, and you say, "Hey, listen, I don't have I just cleaned these plates and dishes, but I don't have a dishwasher. I did it by hand." No matter how clean it could really be, in my head there's germs there, so I can't do it.
Okay, no.
So just tell me you have a dishwasher.
And listen. You're probably right, because there's nothing you can do in this world to be germ-free. You die if you do that, right? like your body needs them to build up immunity so it can stay strong. So like you know what I mean? You take a little. It's okay.
I hear you. I just have
you
a germ.
Are hilarious, Gene.
I am.
You are hilarious.
I'm just a germ.
The sponge in the microwave for like 2 minutes is supposed to like kill all the germs.
I've heard that, but still, anything with the kitchen sink, man. They say kitchen sinks are the dirtiest things on the planet, man.
You don't do the kiss it up to God. You don't do.
It depends how tasty it is, but I figured, you know what? I'll put the skillet in the dishwasher. I'll have it for tomorrow. I'll have my eggs tomorrow. Maybe,
there you go.
Maybe I want to make eggs for lunch. I got these little fajita looking wraps that are like not wraps, but tortillas that are the one carb.
The
low carb one,
the brown one.
Yeah. So I will have myself a little breakfast burrito, but for lunch probably.
Love that.
So, that sounds good.
So you don't eat at restaurants?
Yeah, I eat at restaurants.
So you don't see those dishwashers back there?
I've worked at restaurants before back in the day, and we used to have this thing where it goes in a big washer thing. So it goes in a dishwasher. At least I would imagine they all do that.
No,
it's the most.
They definitely all do not do that.
I feel like it's the most sanitary way. See, that's what I'm saying. As long as you don't tell me you washed by hand, I'm good. I can use it. I'm always going to defer that it was washed by a machine.
Okay.
So in my head, everything was. But if I know different, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Okay.
I've turned my mom down with stuff. If my mom was like, "Oh, I can eat it real quick,"
Your mom is like, "I've been doing this your whole life."
Right.
But now I know better. So, all right. So, are you guys ready to talk some NBA?
Yes, sir.
This is ending our little series on the NBA. All right. So, offseason outlook: Philadelphia 76ers. What are we expecting? They've already new coach. They've already added some. They've already had some offseason moves. Do we expect this trade? There's a lot of rumors for this trade with the Knicks and the Sixers possibly moving that big center over there. Do we see that happening? Joel Embiid?
No.
Ever, or just not this year?
Definitely not this year.
I feel like they've picked up steam though in the last couple of weeks.
Well, it's only picked up steam because Joel Embiid said, "I want to win, whether it's in Philly or someplace else." So that's all the media needs to take it off. Like for for people to start talking and start pushing. Yeah. He's absolutely not going. Not right now. No.
I would say Nick Nurse is definitely not letting it happen. It's his first year there. He signed there because of a Joel Embiid for the most part.
Yeah, he's not going. He's not going nowhere, and neither is Harden this season. Because Maury said he will entertain a trade, but it has to be of the value that they believe they should get for him. Believe me, they think he's worth more than what the rest of the NBA does. So Harden's not going anywhere. They're not going to get what they're not, you know what I mean? Like what other teams have gotten for big players. Like even Dame is still not even done. And the Trailblazers said they're not even in a rush to trade him. I'm like, dang, like it's a business. At the end of the day, all this stuff is business. And players, they hurt themselves. Like Dame hurt himself by telling his agent, well, he said he didn't say it, but his agent was telling teams, don't even try it. If you're not Miami, he will not want to play for you. You don't waste a trade. That just kills it. Because now Portland's like, cool, well, we'll just wait because Miami don't got nobody we want.
Yeah, I hear that there's possibly a package with Tyler Hero and maybe Duncan Robinson, but
they don't want Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson in Portland. And guess what? Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson don't want to be there either. You know how big of a life change it is to be on South Beach to go to Portland.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're living a nice little life down there, man. Like you know, you see Tyler Hero on Instagram enough. He's living a nice little life down there.
That's
he does not want to move to the Northwest.
No, not for 8 months out the year. Are you crazy?
Although he has no say in the matter, he doesn't really have a say.
He has
Dame
no
does,
say.
but
so you
Dame doesn't really. But he's disgruntled.
You just have a bunch of disgruntled multi-millionaires.
Exactly, 100%. So, do we think they're just going to run it back with the same squad? It looks like, Abby.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, Harden has made it known he's wanted to go to the Clippers, but they're not gonna. It seems like the Clippers have no interest in paying him or giving up that much for him, honestly. And that's what you were saying, Caleb. He thinks he's worth all this money. No team is going to give him that. So, and he's at the back end of his career, and he kind of seems like he wants a longer term contract. It's like you're not going to get that at this stage, buddy.
He wants a
and honestly, they should run it back with the same squad. The same squad. Look at the run that they had with a new coach and everything. It could work. You know what I mean? You got to put it together. But I mean,
Harden does not fit Nurse's system, though. That's the one thing.
Right.
Like if I'm Nick Nurse, I'm like, just get me something for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can get something, but Maury is saying he wants like a lot. Like he's thinking this is Harden 10 years ago. Yeah. He thinks this is Harden, James Kardashian. I told you there's a difference. When he was with Khloe, he was balling. You know what I'm saying? Like he thinks it's James Kardashian. It's not. It's James Harden. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but if I'm Nick Nurse, though, like, wouldn't it make more sense to just like because Nick Nurse's system is you got to play a little defense in his system. Wouldn't it make more sense to just get something for him rather than nothing, rather than just keep him?
Of course, but Maury thinks he's worth more on the team than them getting somebody at a lower caliber, like the something for him. You know what I mean? Like Maury thinks he's more valuable to stay there. So he said he has no intention in trading him unless he can get what he thinks is the value. And that's key, what he thinks, which is a lot.
I'm going to be honest. I would not be surprised if we see him traded at the deadline, maybe.
Yeah.
For a team trying to shake it up, maybe for another piece just like him in another city where they need to move him.
And they need draft picks and all that because draft picks are unknown. You don't know what you could possibly get. So
and don't be surprised if they do have a rough start under Nick Nurse. If they do become sellers, you might see Joel Embiid leave by next season because of that.
Now, next season is a possibility. It's just not this season.
Exactly, I get it. All right, so let's get on to the next one. The Celtics, Boston Celtics, the outlook for them, made a bunch of moves so far this year. Kristaps Porzingis is there. I can't believe Al Horford's still playing. I feel like Al Horford's got to be like 75 years old.
175 years old.
He's been around the league for a while. So what are we looking at with the outlook of them? Did they improve by trading Marcus Smart and bringing in Porzingis?
Are you asking me or Abby?
I'm just throwing it up. First one to answer.
Well, Abby, you want to take it?
I don't know. I still think they're lacking toughness, to be honest. Like, they look really soft. They have a bunch of these. Especially. I knew you were going to say that about him. But yeah, I still think they need someone in there, another big body that's going to also kind of eat up the minutes as well. But that's the main thing when I look at the Celtics that they're lacking. So I don't know if they necessarily, they made all these moves. I don't necessarily know if I feel that they got better. They just kind of look the same because it was Smart that was traded, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a defensive dude. You know what I mean? So it's like you just replaced him with someone who I think is soft. So, but I mean, they got a good, solid rotation. You know what I mean? It's not that they don't have anybody. They have all these players. I just think defensively, they're going to need to add someone else. And the thing is now it's going to be money, which obviously you can make that work. But
Caleb, did they take a step back next season?
A step back, I would say no. I think they may get into the same spot because Porzingis can score more efficiently than Smart could. But Smart, like to Abby's point, he's a dog. Like he has that heart. So he goes out there, he's tough, he's playing, he's gritty. He's like Chip Douglas in The Cable Guy on the basketball court, like diving after the balls, guarding everybody, getting on everybody's nerves. He's that guy, but you need that. Like the Celtics need like a Bam Adebayo or Draymond Green, like
Steven Adams,
somebody in there that gives it.
That's what I'm saying.
So they're missing that, right? And I know they traded that for height. Because Porzingis is what, 7'10", you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. And he's offense, so they're trying to tailor their team to the new NBA and the new NBA style, where defense takes less and less and less of a seat. Where Abby knows her best player on the team said, offense wins championships, not defense, right? And the whole media's like, whoa, right? But KD isn't wrong because the rule changes have changed so much so that it is offense now because you can't even really play defense like you used to. You know what I mean? So with that said, I do agree with Abby. I think they're missing that grit, like that toughness. It's why they couldn't beat Golden State. Because at that time, like Draymond still is that, and I'm not a Draymond Green fan. I'm not a big fan.
Neither am I,
but I'm not gonna act like he's not. He doesn't have that grit. You know what I mean? He and that is grit and toughness is infectious. You know what it is. So it's like having a big brother that can fight. And everybody's scared of your big brother, but you the little brother. But you walk like this because you know you got a big brother. It does that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Nobody's scared of you, but they know if they mess with you, your big brother coming and nobody wants to see him. That's the kind of energy. It's like what Charles Oakley used to have. It's like, you know what I mean? Big Perk. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Shout out Kendrick Perkins. Perk on the Celtics. Like what? You know, it's that.
I agree with that. Like I was saying, like a Steven Adams is like that's the type of guy that I think that's exactly what Steven Adams is for Ja in Memphis.
That's why he was so important for them. Like they need him back.
And you're right. They need a guy like that for Tatum and I'm not knocking that. I know it sounds like I'm not knocking Tatum.
No. You're not knocking Tatum. You're right. You're 1,000% right because that's not Tatum's game, and you don't want it to be. You want Tatum to be open to score 50. Yeah. You don't score 50 being gritty. Grit players don't score points.
They foul out in the halfway through the fourth.
They get rebounds. You know what I mean? They get blocks, steals, set screens. That's what that is. You don't see Steph Curry out there doing that. That's Draymond. Right.
Yeah. All right. On to the Bucks. Let's talk about these Milwaukee Bucks. Now, this is a team I think that does take a step back. I just don't. They're pretty much running it back themselves, but I just feel like that loss. I feel like it's good. You know, some people could say, "Hey, it's gonna get them fired up for next season." I think that was a hit, and I think they showed. I think we see the kinks in the armor now. What's your take on that, Caleb?
Okay, I don't know if people, sorry, Chad, if y'all mad at me or think I'm tripping. I think it was a mistake re-signing Chris Middleton. I think they needed to let him go. I really do. Like, they should have let him go and went and tried to get a Bradley Beal, right? Mm-hmm. Try to get Dame time there. You need sometimes you need a shock to the system to get the team going. And I think Middleton, he's good, but he's not great. And I don't think him and Holiday play well, and I don't think him and Giannis do either, because Chris is too sometimey, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes he's on, sometimes he's not, and that's for everybody. But majority of like great players, they're 75% consistent, 80% consistent. Like, you know what you can get out of Booker. You may not get 71, but you know you're gonna get at least 30, 28. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. That's what you need. Middleton to give you a game, he get 8 points, 12 points, stuff like that. But you paying him $40 million. Nah, man, that don't add up to me. So I think they should have let him go, and they should have went and tried to replace him with somebody big. You got Giannis. You got to get him help. Like, as great as Jokic is, he can't win without Murray. That's why when Murray came back, they win a title, because that's how the NBA is set up now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think Giannis needs that, and I think the Bucks have failed him in that. They'll be good.
I agree.
They'll be within the top 4 of the East, but they're not going to win a title. I don't even think they get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't think so either next year.
But I don't think so. Like, to be honest, I wouldn't bet on it.
What's your take on this, Abby?
When I look at the Bucks, it's like, first of all, they need to stay healthy, but they need, for me, kind of like a younger squad. So I was just like doing some research. They only have 2 players under 25. And the thing is, like, I mean, with Giannis's injury, I mean, they all just kind of had injuries kind of throughout the year, and then it really hurt them in the playoffs, especially when Giannis wasn't able to play. I think it was a huge factor as to why they didn't advance. But I think they really need to maybe look at signing some younger guy. One guy I was kind of looking at was, he's a former Arizona Wildcat, but Stanley Johnson. He's back playing in the G League right now. But I mean, he wasn't too bad. But again, it's just adding someone a little younger, because they have an older roster. And it, like I said, it just seems like they can't seem to stay healthy.
I agree.
There's also just this, like, I feel like that other than Giannis, the firepower doesn't really match up.
That's my point. That's my point. That's why Middleton needed to go. He's that part that is a little, because to me, Holiday is gritty. He's not like Marcus Smart gritty, but he's tough. Like, you want to keep him, but all that money that Middleton sucks up, I think, is what the issue is. Because you keep Lopez, you want those twin towers. Like, you need height and body on the East, because you got Embiid you're going against. You got Bam Adebayo. You got Spicy P in Toronto. You got these dudes. So it's like you need that, but you got to have that other guard that is more consistent and there.
Yeah, and Abby nailed it. They've just been injury prone. It seems like whenever you need a certain player, like Middleton missed so much of the season last year, and then in the playoffs when you need Giannis more than anything, Giannis goes down. Do we think that? I mean, is that what lost them that series, or were the Heat going to win that series anyway? They played so well in the playoffs. It's right. A question.
I would say the Heat would win anyway, because they have so many dogs coming. So here's what I mean. I'm a big nature fan. Like, I watch nature documentaries like all day at this level. So a pack of wild dogs, you could have 2 lions and they'll kill half of them, but there's 160 of these wild dogs and they don't stop coming. Eventually the 2 lions are like, okay, take it, we out. Right? That's what Miami was like last season. They just got so many players coming just off the bench. This guy. You know, and you've never heard of them, so you don't know how to defend them. You don't know what they're good at. You know, and they just keep coming. That's what it was like. And I think the Bucks, they only really had Giannis because Middleton wasn't there. So Giannis is a male lion. He's killing them, but he gets one injury, he got to stop. Because injuries in the savannah is death. If you can't run, it's over. So you know what I mean? It's like you got to depart. And I think that's what would have happened. I just think the Miami just had too many coming at you, and for them last season, because Middleton wasn't there to even assist.
Yeah, I agree. And again, just and the inconsistency with Middleton is just too much. They need someone that's going to be a little bit more that when you got a star player like Giannis, you need that Batman that you can trust. And if anything, at minimum, they at least need to be trustworthy. And that's what Middleton hasn't been. It hasn't been a good Batman.
Right.
No.
All right. So let's get on. We're done with some basketball. Let's get on to some football now. Guys, we're gonna rank. This is the last of our rankings. We're not gonna be doing any more rankings. Now we're gonna get in after today. We're gonna be getting into a lot of stuff as far as predicting and going over the news that's coming out of camps. As a matter of fact, we were talking earlier too. The Saquon Barkley issue is something. Now, there's three aspects. If he holds out, what does that mean for? And we'll go around the room and answer it. But three things. What does that mean for Saquon Barkley? What does that mean for the Giants? And what does that mean for the league with him sitting? If he was to sit out this season, what does that mean for all three of these guys? For all three of those questions, Abby, I'll start with you.
Oh, geez, I haven't even thought about this. I mean, we all know it's a passing league now. Running backs you're not going to be really paid, but he is. When you think of the Giants, for me, I think of Saquon Barkley. That dude's a beast. I just saw a video of him. It's funny. I just saw a video of him like squatting like 700 pounds. I think it would be in his best interest to play. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I feel like a little bit to prove that point. I honestly think his value would go down if he didn't play and if he sat on the bench, to be honest. Because did he already have an ACL tear?
He does.
If I'm correct. Yeah. And so it's like that is like how we see you work. We can see all of these things, like we'll take Breece Hall, for example, with the Jets, he looks good in practice and all of this, but until we see you in a game, we're not going to really know how that knee injury is doing or whatever. So what I'm saying is Saquon sitting, we're not going to see what work you're really putting in. And if you want to be paid, you need to show it. You know what I mean? I don't know. That whole situation is a mess, but I still think it would be in his best interest to play almost as an FU a little bit, if that makes sense. But what do you guys think?
Well, go ahead, Caleeb.
Well,
what do you think it means to the Giants?
Without him, they're done.
Right.
Because Daniel Jones can't do it. He's not a good enough quarterback. And what was crazy was yesterday on First Take, they were showing what the Giants are like offensively with Saquon and what they're like without him. Like Daniel Jones QBR drops like 20 when he's not in the game. Saquon himself is responsible for 23% of all offensive production. That's huge. It's almost a quarter of everything that they do. You can't compete against Dallas, the Eagles, and the Commanders without that dude. So I think the Giants are toast without him, right? Then
I'll piggyback off that one point real quick, though. 23% is just involved with him touching the ball. What about all those times that he's not touchable, that he's either making a block that your backup isn't going to be able to make, or just generating interest where you got to keep your eyes, you got to keep a backer on.
What did Abby just say? When I think of the Giants, I think of Saquon Barkley.
There you go.
So you see what I mean? So he's already the face, right? To Abby's point about him sitting out, I actually agree with her, right? But it's so ugly. Because he's also risking injury, which could ruin everything. Because if he gets hurt again, and they already are looking at running backs like it's a fading position, you're really not going to get paid then, right? So you're taking that risk. But if you ball out, you can get paid. Somebody's going to pay you, but the market for running backs across the NFL is very. It's not what it used to be, right? So I think there's also the idea of taking a stand, which Josh Jacobs on the Las Vegas Raiders is doing, right? He's going to sit out, watch. And it's like, I agree with them because it's not fair. I understand the business for the owners. They're like, the game has changed where running backs are not as important. They're interchangeable. You saw what my team did. Eagles kept 3 and was just right? Like every 2 plays, out, another one, right? So we got 4 running backs on the Eagles this season, And we lost Miles Sanders, who was our best running back. He's getting $7 million from Carolina. All 4 of our running backs make $7 million total. Right? So they got 4 dudes for the same amount of money. Carolina got 1. So like that's the mentality. Is it right? No. Is it the world? Yes. You know what I mean? And I don't know. All I know is that Le'Veon Bell came out and said he regrets sitting out. He felt it ruined his career. And it probably did. Right? Also, he was trying to rap while he was on the Jets instead of trying to play. I don't know. He thought he was Le'Veon Drake or something and found out no. Right? But I digress with all that. But really, it's a touchy thing. Like I just don't think it's right. You're making billions. It's be different if the NFL was losing money. The NFL prints money.
Yeah.
They made $6 billion in profit last year alone. $6 billion. $1 million. Okay, $1 billion is this, you guys, if you don't know. It's 1,000 million. That means somebody gave you $1 million 1,000 times.
That's nuts.
Like, that's how much money that is. I think there's enough to go around. Right. To give these dudes 25 million, 30 million guaranteed, especially when they're great. So man, it's bad. I see my boy Zach Martin. He's a cowgirl. I respect people. He's sitting out. He's like, I'm not coming unless you pay me. And he's not even a left tackle. He's a right guard. And he's like, nope.
But he's maybe the best in the league.
Hey, he's a 99 rated in Madden. How 99? The glorious, the holy 99 club, right? Like it's real, man. Like it's the money is undefeated, so you got to pay it. Like you got to get you have to. So the NFL is gonna have to figure something out.
It's like kind of a shocking that I'm like, oh, you give Danny Jones, who I think is one of the most mediocre quarterbacks ever, all that money, and you can't pay Saquon. Like I said, when you think of the Giants, you think of Saquon Barkley. He carries that team. He puts the team on his back. And I just agree with everything you said. I don't think it's right, but it is the world that we live in.
They offered him $22 million, right? Saquon wanted 25, and the Giants said no. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, now, maybe I'm an idiot, and that's why I'm not in the NFL, like, doing that business stuff. But I would have said, if I said 22 and you say 25, I say, done. You got it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know how invaluable he is to my team. You know what I mean? Like I just don't get that. Give the man $25 million and keep it pushing. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? So, especially if you're going to give Danny Dimes $80 million.
Right.
80? And he only wants 25? I don't know.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
And they don't even have any receivers either.
No.
They don't have
they're not paying receivers.
Saquon catches the ball out the backfield like Christian McCaffrey and like Alvin Kamara. What are we talking about? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's just I feel bad. I feel bad for that young man. And I know it sounds crazy because he's a multi-millionaire, but I just feel like he should get. He's
still being underpaid.
Yeah, man. Like it's not fair. It's not. So,
and you brought up Zach Martin. That's Zach Martin. I was actually going to go there next. Can Dak can be competitive this year without a Zach Martin?
Hell no. So they show. I'm sorry, Abby. I'm just jumping in on this. And all that.
No, that's fine.
I'm gonna make this point. So just this morning, they were talking about Zach Martin in particular. Dak Prescott's QBR drops 25 points when he's not in there. And the guy said, Harry Douglas was on there, and he said, man, you don't want Dak to start pressing. We saw what happens when Zach is not in there and he starts doing it. 15 interceptions in 12 games.
Yeah.
They were like, don't do it. Don't do it. So without that dude, and you got to think, offensive linemen are like a gang. Right? Like they roll together. You need that leader who calls out the 42, watch him. 91 on their side. Yada, yada. Like they're calling out. When you see those dudes walking out of the huddle, we can't hear it. But when you see those arms moving, that's them pointing on who's blitzing, who's doing what. Like they're communicating, setting up how they're going to protect, right? If you don't have the leader there, you're done. Yeah. You're done. You know what I mean? You got a rookie in there. I think 91 looks like he's coming. You know what I mean? It would be detrimental. So you have to pay these guys, especially when they're that important. I don't even know how Jerry let this even come to the press. As soon as Zach says, "Hey, I think I'm getting paid," I say, "Yes, you are absolutely correct. I'm a billionaire. Here's a blank check. What is it that you need? Let's set the market for right guards." What are you talking about? He's 32.
Yeah.
Right. I'm 43. I'm 11 years older than this dude. And they're considering him old. And this is the last time he could get a big contract. Zach got to go for it. He got to go for it.
Abby, what chances does this Cowboy offense have without a Zach Martin?
None. Because Dak is not good. They're the reason he looks, the O-line, the whole O-line is the reason he looks so good. So it's none. Honestly, I mean, don't even get me started on the Cowboys because I can talk mad shit about them all day long. You know what I mean? They're still not going to go anywhere with him or without him. So it doesn't really matter.
So what? Maybe that's why they're not paying him.
Right.
It's definitely worse without him.
Yeah, exactly.
And Dak, I know worse is not a word, y'all. I'm doing that on purpose.
Dak needs him.
They've had such a solid offensive line. You're right, Abby. The reason why Dak has looked good in the past is because they've had a great offensive line. They've been notoriously have had an insane offensive line ever since the 90s. I mean, they've always had that was what they were always known for, was that offensive line.
Well, think about this. They just franchised Pollard, right? Where do you think Pollard is going to run without Zach Martin directing that offensive line to block? Because Pollard is not a power runner.
He's not.
In speed. So that means he's getting blasted. If you know, because this ain't the old days where the defensive linemen are slow. These dudes is weighing 300 pounds. They could run a 4.3. You know what I'm saying?
They're going to stack that left side of the line.
Man, listen, you don't want that. You need those guys. It is extremely important. And what will happen is this. If they do not take care of Zach Martin, that offensive line is done. Not just because Zach's there, because that gets in the head of the other guys. They say, wait a minute. If they ain't taking care of him and he's the best, what about now you're checking out. Now you're not blocking as hard because you don't want to risk no injury because you're trying to get paid when you leave. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, that stuff permeates. People think like it's okay to diss a player because next man up. No, it's not, because all your other players see that. Yeah. And they start thinking how you'll do them. It's
exactly what happened with the Jets. A lot of people think Quinn was going to get his money because they had this history of never paying their guys on that second contract. So a lot of people, I'll be honest, I was one of them. I said, listen, it will probably get done, but I won't be surprised if it doesn't get done, because you could say all the right things. Oh, we want these players to be here forever. We want them to be a career Cowboy, Giant, Jet, whoever it might be. But then when they got to actually sign that check, it's a different story.
Right.
So, but all right. So, all right, let's get into some rankings now. There we go. Ranking the AFC West quarterback wide receiver duos. Abby, let's start with you.
Good Lord. This was honestly like pretty tough because I like a lot of times I like the receivers and not so much the quarterback, or vice versa. You know what I mean? That
happens a lot in this division, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my first gut is to go with Jimmy G and Adams. To be honest, I haven't seen. It just sucks because Jimmy G, when he is healthy and not hurt, he, for me, looks solid. I just don't know if he's going to come out of the gate this year and be just this. They're going to be this dominant duo. But that is my natural reaction. But that's only because of how good Adams is. I think Jimmy G's got enough to give it for him. Now, honestly, my next two, I literally was Herbert, and I'm going to take Mike Williams first, and then Herbert and Allen. They have a good, you know what? I think the Chargers have a good receiving core. And then with the quarterback like Herbert, I mean, they're all getting equal touches with the ball and everything, equal catches with the ball. They're kind of like their stats are pretty similar. And then lastly, I just did top 4. I'm going to take Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Judy's going to have a better year this year with a better coach, obviously. I hope Wilson is probably going to end up bouncing back. But that was my number 4. It's funny, I didn't take anything with Mahomes and Tony. I looked at Valdez-Scantling, and I'm like, I don't think it compares, to be honest. And they don't need him. You know what I mean? Their receivers, they rely so much on Kelsey. There we go.
Yeah.
So
I'm a little different than you. In fact, I'm a lot different than you, I think. I have Herbert and Allen as number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with that. I feel like it could be a little interchangeable.
I have them as number 1. I do like Mike Williams a lot, but I do think these next spots are going to be just edge it out a little bit. After that, I went Garoppolo Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I hate doing it because I don't know if even Garoppolo how much he's even going to play this year. We never know how much he's going to play. So I even hate picking that spot right there at number 2. But Adams does that good. I don't know if it makes a difference. So and then in third, I went with Mahomes Tony. I did go with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kadarius Toney's going to have a good year this year, actually. I think you are finally going to see Kadarius Toney that we saw in college. The speedster, the playmaker. I think we're going to finally see it in Kansas City. So much so that I almost want to put them second ahead of Garoppolo and Adams. There's a part of me that really does, but I'm going to go with them at third. And then I'm going to go with Wilson Sutton as my 4th place. Judy's the only guy I haven't seen him be consistent enough. Sutton, I feel like is a really good receiver. I think he's the best receiver on that team. When everybody's healthy, pound for pound, I think he's the best receiver on that team. So I'm going to go Wilson Sutton in my final spot.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Caleb?
So it's so funny because I'm like, to me, Kelsey is a receiver. Like,
right.
he's a tight receiver. That's what I would say, or a wide end. Like he's interchangeable. He does it all. So, that you can't say because technically, but like that's in my mind. So there's that. So I agree with Abby. It's because Mahomes don't care about those dudes. You know what I mean? It's Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey is the reason why those guys can even get open. Right. So there's that. But I know I've said it plenty of times. I am a Justin Herbert stan. I think he's phenomenal. I just love that kid. I just think he's so good. And I'm a fan of Allen slightly more than Williams, but it's ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. They're so interchangeable.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
I put the Chargers up there first. You know what I'm saying? I put the Chargers up there first. So it's Herbert, Allen, and / Williams like that. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing about Denver. It's all dependent on Wilson because I agree with you about Sutton, but I'm a Jerry Jeudy fan. Mm-hmm. I like Jerry. You know what it is? Sometimes personality comes through. Jerry Jeudy there's something a little bit about him that I just gravitate to for whatever reason. So his name comes up more to me than Sutton if it's like, who's you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not that, so I would say Wilson and Jeudy, and I'll put them in order. I'm just mentioning them now. Then it's okay. Who's the quarterback for the Raiders? It's going to be Jimmy G. There is no other receiver besides Adams. There's nobody that can compare to him on that team. So it's Adams and whatever Raiders quarterback that's going to be, or however it is, right? And then, oh gosh, I think it matters because you said, Gene, with Devontae Adams, it doesn't matter, right? Because he's that good. Yeah. Like who's throwing him the ball. But I agree and disagree at the same time. I agree because he's so freaking ridiculously talented. Mm-hmm. But I disagree in a sense because if you got a bad QB, you could be Jerry Rice. But if you got
Zach Wilson.
I'm like, wasn't a problem for G-Dub.
Yeah, right. But you get one of those, you get a quarterback that can't get you the ball, is not like your numbers are gonna really suffer. That's what happened to DeAndre Hopkins, right? As talented as he was, he can't throw himself the ball, right? So I think that will have something to do with it. It's why the Broncos receivers weren't getting the love that they should have got last season, because Wilson could not deliver.
God, he was awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
You know what I mean? And I guess you know what it is? It's the Wilson last name. The Wilson, anybody named Wilson last season was just screwed. It was like,
Garrett.
you know what I mean? So at the quarterback position. So I would say that, but I would have Herbert at the top with Allen. Then I'm gonna go Devontae with Jimmy G, provided Jimmy G is there, and it would be Devontae with whoever's throwing him the ball. Patrick Mahomes with I guess I'll say Scanling. You know what I mean? Like one of those guys. Okay, you know, even though we really know who he's throwing to. Wink, wink. And then I'm gonna put Judy and Wilson last only because of Russell. Only because of him. He has to prove. It's sad that I'm putting Jimmy G over Russell Wilson. But there's one thing I'll say about porn star Jimmy, as Stephen A. Smith calls him. He is consistent. He's not going to like win you the game, but he's also not going to lose it for you. He's like one of those guys. You know what I mean? Like
game manager.
So I got to put him above Wilson, which sounds insane because Wilson has a Super Bowl, but it is what it is.
What also helps Garoppolo on that choice is Garoppolo has he's got a top 3 receiver on his, you know, to
easily.
Like without that, then he's probably further down everybody's list. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yes.
So
yes, he's been blessed to be surrounded with great players because Belichick was grooming him to replace Tom like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then he goes to Frisco and he's surrounded by deep. Oh gosh, who I'm still
a ton of wide receivers, running backs, offensive genius for a coach.
Yeah, and a great defense because defense in football. Even though they changed the rules where defenses can't hit you, they kind of NBA'd it but still, a good defense helps you a lot. I think A-Rod is gonna benefit from that because people are, and I know my boy Wudi. Shout out to Mr. Wudi. I know you out there, brother. Said that the Jets defense is overrated.
Yeah, Abby, you should have heard the blasphemous. You didn't watch it, Abby. We were like,
oh my God!
I was about to call you right there on the show and be like, "Could you believe what he said?"
I'm about to text him as soon as we're done.
He said they were overrated. He said they were overrated. He also said,
"Tell him what he said, Gene. Tell him what he said."
He said that they were overrated. That they weren't as good as the hype. He said
my
things.
God.
You need to speak to him.
Well, me and him when we
he also dissed Sauce Gardner a little bit. He also said Sauce Gardner wasn't the best corner.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I know this year Sauce needs to really work on his interceptions because he didn't have too many. You know what I mean?
Neither did Revis though, but Revis didn't have a ton of interceptions. I'm fine.
Well, that's because they wasn't even throwing the ball to his side though.
Yeah,
right.
But if you look at every other metric,
you gotta respect that. Because here's what I'm gonna say about that. Sauce didn't have the interceptions because people were scared to test him because of how good he was, right? So they didn't want to test him. It was what Deion Sanders had to deal with. Deion said he would not guard the receiver. He would purposely let the receiver run just so to bait the quarterback to throw the football because he wouldn't do it if Deion runs with him. You know what I mean? So I think it's a little bit of that. And there was a cornerback discussion on First Take this morning about Jalen Ramsey being number 1. I do not think Jalen Ramsey is the best cornerback in the NFL anymore. Last season, he got torched a lot.
Yes.
A lot. I think he's falling off. You know what I think about corners, guys? Honestly, and I know this isn't like a little bit on topic, but I think they only have like a 2 to 3 year window where they can like be like that one. After that, I just think they just get older or I don't know what happens. They can still be good, but like to be the top one, because think about it. Josh Norman had it for like a season, maybe 2. Darrelle Revis had it for 2 or 3 seasons. You know, you could argue 4, but in the 4th season, he wasn't like the number 1 anymore. He was still top 5. But I mean, like consistently there like you would a Aaron Donald. How long has Aaron Donald been the best? You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. So I think it's shorter. I don't know why it's shorter windows. Maybe because you have to guard receivers and there's new receivers coming all the time and whatever. But it seems like they have a shorter window of being the dominant one. You can still be great, like still really good and a great defender and all of that. But it feels like every 2 to 3 years, there's a new corner that comes in that takes that spot. I don't know. But that's what it feels like. But back to the sauce of it. I think that kid is really good. I just think he'll never get a lot of interceptions because quarterbacks will not test him. Not until after the 3-year period. Then they say, okay, he's old now.
Yeah. and if you look at the metrics on him, all the other metrics, all the other stats says that he came in first, second, third, like in pretty much every category.
Yeah, so, but Asante Samuel says he's overrated.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
Asante Samuel is a bum, and his son is a bust.
Oh!
His son is toast.
I love his son. I think his son is a boss. Here's what I'm gonna say about this. Asante Samuel, he's angry about something.
Right.
He just came on TV and said Bill Belichick is not the greatest coach in history, that it's all Tom Brady. The only reason why Bill won. He said, you got to look at what happened with Bill when Tom wasn't there before and what happened with Tom gone. Timeout. Bill Belichick, if I'm not mistaken, had 2 Super Bowl rings before Tom Brady was in the league. Okay, 2 of them. And you'll say, but he wasn't the head coach. Yes, but he was the defensive coordinator of arguably the best defense of all time. Everybody knows it's Chicago 85. They get number 1. But New York 86 is number 2. That dude, there was a man named Pepper Johnson on one end, and then there was one other dude, oh my gosh, on the other side. I can't think of his name. I think he had initials LT. Are you kidding me? It was unstoppable.
Carl Banks, too. Carl Banks was on that squad. Harry Carson, Hall of Famer.
Like, stop it, right? To disrespect Bill Belichick that way, right?
Right.
And here's the deal. Tom Brady, greatest QB of all, the most winning, all that, all good. He was Mr. Irrelevant before he met Bill Belichick. That means he was the last pick.
He was a 6th rounder. He wasn't the last, but
he was like 200 something.
199, right. I think.
I thought he was Mr. Irrelevant.
He was 6th round. He was 199, I believe.
The point is,
but pretty much, I mean, right up there. What's the difference at that point?
Like, I think no take away from Tom. He needed Bill to gain it and become what he became, and Bill needed him. Yeah. Does Phil Jackson win 11 titles without Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen? No. And Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant? Some people just get a lucky draw, right? You get the players that fit your system and you're able to do it. So to disrespect Bill,
right?
Like 6 Super Bowls by himself. One dude, not literally by himself, he's the coach of the team, but what I mean is he's responsible for 6 titles. How many championships does Dallas have total? How many championships does the Pittsburgh Steelers have? He has more than teams, than franchises alone, right? Like, and I get it. Well, Tom left and then he won with the, okay, Tom Brady is great. Nobody's taking nothing away, but the disrespect of Bill Belichick is ridiculous. It's like you act like Tom Brady put those systems together. You act like, like what are you talking?
Belichick had to do, Belichick did the game planning, everything else. My question is this: is you look at who was the next best quarterback in that time era, in that era? It was probably Peyton Manning. Peyton has 2. Is Tom Brady 7-2 Super Bowls better than Peyton? No, he was better than Peyton, but not
Peyton Manning. No. Here we go. Peyton Manning was the better quarterback than Tom
regular season.
In the no. And why? Because he had Tom Brady had a better coach that broke down defenses and understood what to do.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like Tom Brady had one season where he's throwing the ball downfield when he had Randy Moss. Tom Brady was the king of the 5-yard slant, 3-yard slant.
Troy Brown all day.
Right? Stop it. That's all Belichick. That's his style. Corey Dillon in the backfield. What was that other running back? Maciel, something like that. Like there. That's what it was. Belichick knew eat the clock, eat the clock, eat the clock, eat the clock, score. The best field goal kicker in the history of the game. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like the disrespect of Bill acting like it just Tom Brady. Like, no. Football is not like basketball, where you could just have a dominant player and you can't stop them. And what are you going to do? Right? Football is not that. I don't care how good you are. Ask Devontae Adams. He's arguably the best receiver in the game. What the Raiders done?
Nothing.
Because you got to have a team in the NFL. You know what I mean? And coaching is major. And so I just feel like that Asante Samuel take on Belichick is disrespectful. And people are saying this. I just saw a thing saying, is Kirby Smart a better coach than Nick Saban? Nick has 7 national, oh my, like just because you didn't win, now all of a sudden you ain't great no more. I'm telling you, man, the world is insane. Yeah, it is literally crazy. Like these kinds of takes people come with.
The amount of Alabama players in the NFL right now that he has coached is insane. That list is infinite.
Yeah, it's just no knock against Kirby, but come on, man.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have a talk with Wudi after this because that's a ridiculous take that the New York Jets defense is overrated.
Oh yeah, and
I knew you'd upset. All right. So next thing we're gonna go over is AFC North quarterbacks. Let me give my list first, man. I'm gonna go Burrow, Jackson, Watson, Pickett, and I think Pickett could. If Watson doesn't have the bounce back year that we think, I think Pickett could actually slide into number 3. I think Pickett's gonna have a really good year. This might be a really good quarterback division in the future coming up because Burrow is all world. Jackson obviously is all world. Watson, if he puts it together, finally gets a rust off this year. And I really do think Kenny Pickett is coming, man. You're hearing a lot of great stuff about him this offseason. A lot of people talking him up this offseason. I think he's going to be something to deal with. What's your picks on this one, Caleb?
I pretty much agree with you. Watson has an asterisk because I actually believe Watson is a better quarterback all around than Jackson, right?
Okay.
But Watson hasn't been playing. So we have to see if he can do it. I know what Lamar can do. And now we're going to see if he can add to it because now he has more firepower on the field with him, right? With the addition of Beckham and all of that. There's no competition for who's number 1. We all know it's Cool Joe. Joe Cool. Like, what are you talking about? Anybody that can wear an all-white Bengal tiger suit? Come on. like he's the man. Like, you know what I mean? You got it speaks to a different mindset to pull that off. And then of course Kenny is at the bottom because he's unproven and he's young, so we're gonna see it. You know what I mean? And I'm rooting for him. I know my mother's a diehard Steelers fan, so her and Nigel be going crazy. They're definitely rooting for him. But I agree with you about as far as the better quarterbacks. Like, they have a really good quarterback core in that division. I would say they might have the best all-around quarterbacks, like, on all teams. Because if you think about it, so AFC East, you got Allen and A-Rod. Miami drops off. I'd like Tua, but he's not on their level, and neither is
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones. The NFC East, come on. No. I like Jalen Hurts. There was a debate about him, but he's the best. And so we know, AFC West, you know what I mean? Like, you got Herbert and Mahomes, but that's it. You don't, Wilson is not there. Neither is Garoppolo. Like, you see what I'm saying? So I think that division might have the best quarterback cores. You know what I mean? Like, on their teams out of, per capita. So yeah. So yeah.
If Pickett puts up a Pro Bowl caliber season, then it's going to be.
Oh, it's a wrap. Yeah. If he does what? Oh man.
What's your list, Abby?
Fairly similar. Honestly, I went back and forth with number 1 between Lamar and Joe Burrow, just because I feel like, I was actually kind of shocked. But
tell me why, Abby.
just because I think when Lamar has had a lot, when Joe Burrow came in, he already had stuff to work with. And I feel like when Lamar came in, it was he put up all those numbers almost by himself. You know what I mean? And was still, an NFL MVP and a Pro Bowler and stuff like that. But it's going to come down to how he plays this season, honestly. If I ended up still putting one next to Burrow, Lamar Jackson, I actually had Pickett before Deshaun Watson because I think Pickett is actually going to have a very good year this year. And I think Mike Tomlin has done a very good job of giving him weapons and building a team around him. And I just think with a coach like Mike Tomlin, Kenny Pickett is essentially what I feel like is set up for success in the future. So, but yeah, you're right. It's a good rotation of quarterbacks in that division. Yeah. And I'm not going to give discredit to Watson. I just need honestly, he missed half the season last year. We just kind of need to see him more. I mean, obviously he has a good set of weapons, good defense out in Cleveland and everything. So, that's going to be, Gene, are you a little nervous at all about Cleveland and the Jets at all?
Yeah, I always feel like Cleveland plays the Jets tough anyway, even when they're not that
and
good.
They almost won last year if it wasn't for the amazing Flacco comeback. But that game, I think it's week 17 or it's one of the later games, and I'm like, it could. By then, who knows how both divisions are going to be, and that might be a game where you gotta win. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think this is definitely like a when it comes to quarterbacks, scary division as far as having to go in there and play the AFC North. One quarterback after the next, and especially if Pickett does turn out to be exceptional this year, that just puts it over the edge even more. All right, so next one. Excuse me. The NFC North defenses. Abby, you want to go first?
Let me find my little notes. Oh, here we are. Oh man, I don't know if I want to go first.
It's a dirty division as far as defense.
Yeah. Damn. You know what? I'll just say in the order I had: Lions, Packers, Vikings, Chicago.
Okay, I can roll with that. That's exactly.
And I mean, it can kind of go back. I feel like it could go back and forth with the Lions and the Packers a little bit. They all have if I'm correct, I think the Packers have a good set of cornerbacks. And then I feel like for the Lions, I don't know, just the Lions improved their secondary this year. Look how close they are to the playoffs. And the Aiden Hutchinson, what a beast. But then picking up, they had a very good draft. Picking up Jack Campbell was a very good pick for them. And then look at adding CJ Gardner-Johnson. I just think with the draft and who they added in free agency that they arguably have the number one defense. Honestly, I could go – if Chicago wasn't still rebuilding, the Vikings defense is god-awful to me. They could honestly – I could see Chicago being ahead of the Vikings in terms of defense once the season starts. But for right now, we'll put, again, Lions, Packers, Vikings, Chicago. Chicago's got a lot of work still. Yeah. Got a lot of work to do.
I went a little different than you. I went with the Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears.
Why would the Vikings be number one to you?
Right.
I like the Brian Flores addition.
Okay.
I think he's going to bring a lot to that team. I think this is we talked about it a couple weeks ago too, as far as them putting it together on defense. Danielle Hunter, Asamoah, Harrison Smith. There's a lot of good pieces here that I think, especially when you add a defensive mind like Flores, I think they put it together defensively. I think they need to put it together defensively too. I think there's a little bit of pressure to put it together defensively. I think Green Bay and Green Bay was hard to put third because they do have an exceptional corners. But the reason why I did is I think Detroit's going to take a step up, and they were horrible on defense last year. I think they make a huge leap this year from bottom half of the league to the top half of the league in defense. I think they're going to be a formidable defense this year, which is why I think they're going to win the division this year in that division. But I like the addition of Flores in Minnesota, man. I really think he's a nasty coach. He knows what he's doing. He got a raw deal in Miami. Like we've already said that. He should be a head coach somewhere. So right now Minnesota is getting a defensive coordinator for the price of a head coach. or they're getting the price of a coach for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's worthy of a head coach, and he's their D coordinator right now. So I think that defense is gonna flourish this year. I think you're gonna see some of those other names I didn't list that aren't stars yet. I think you're gonna see some of those guys develop because of Brian Flores. So I put Minnesota there. That's why I give Minnesota a little bit of a leap. Green Bay's like I said, Green Bay's tough to put in third. The only easy one really to place for me was Chicago.
Right.
Right.
But I think Detroit's going to be formidable this year. As obviously you agree with that, Abby, you have them first. And I just think, as much as I love Green Bay's secondary, I don't trust them up front.
Right. I can see that.
It makes sense. I get it.
What do you got?
I agree with Abby's list. I'm 100% locked in with that. I think she's absolutely right. I think Detroit is the best defense, and then I think Green Bay is right after it. They got my boy Jair Alexander, who's the second best corner in Madden. He's ranked at 95.
Yep.
I just think they're secondary.
That front line though is kind of weak.
Right. Okay. Right. But we're in a passing league. As
right.
Fair. That's fair.
So their secondary is nasty. So what I'm giving you, sorry, somebody was calling. But it's that. So I agree with Detroit number 1, Packers number 2. Here's the thing about Minnesota. Minnesota has always had a pretty decent defense, right? Josh Allen would swear their defense is insane. You saw what they ended up doing with them, right? But Dallas would disagree. Dallas went there and mopped the floor with those Vikings, right? So I agree with you. I think they'll have to prove themselves this year. So that's why they're number 3, but they're absolutely not worse than Chicago. I agree with Abby again. I think Chicago has a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
and you have to think about who's catching the ball. I mean, arguably with the best wide receiver in Justin Jefferson, you're gonna need that secondary.
Yeah.
And same thing with Chicago. Honestly, Fields is gonna be expected to pass the ball more. So
yeah, 100%.
I hope he can. I hope he can.
All right. So what do we got next? We're going to rank the NFC East running backs, and we were just talking about Saquon. Is there any other option for number 1 than Saquon?
No, not to me. And my boys, we don't treat running backs well. We say you guys are interchangeable. So because we got 4.
You're right.
That we're just bringing in because that's our style of offense. So I can't even So then, and I would say, so it's Saquon, and I would say Tony Pollard. I hate that team, but Pollard is good. Like when he's very elusive, all that, provided Zach is there, he should be able to do something. So it's absolutely Saquon by a mile. Tony Pollard, whoever we insert in our but you know what? Who's the Commanders running back? Because wait a minute, I think there's somebody.
Antonio Gibson is the main guy.
Yeah. But Gibson is good. Yes.
Ryan Robinson Jr.
Yeah. It's Antonio.
Actually,
Gibson.
Robinson Jr. I believe is going to be the lead guy this year. I believe
he will be, but I got to see what he does. So there'll be an asterisk. He could go anywhere. I don't think he'll surpass Saquon. You know what I mean?
No.
But I think that's pretty much it. So because of that, I'll put our running backs as last because we don't have a lead running back. It's all 4 are the starters. It just depends on how we're running it. We're the only team in that division that does it like that. So Saquon, Pollard, and then Robinson, and then whoever we insert.
I think you're not giving Swift enough credit. I put Swift number 2.
Sorry.
You all right?
I forgot about Swift. That's right. He's amazing. You know what? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Redo your list.
Okay. It's definitely Saquon still. I like Swift more than Pollard.
Me too.
In my opinion. So I'm going to give it to Swift as number 2. Tony, a close 3rd, and then Robinson. Yes. Thank you for that one because I forgot about Swift.
So
right.
We'll get Abby's when she comes back. She wants to internet might have dropped for a second. I got to go obviously, Saquon is number 1, right? Yeah. Hopefully, we get a chance to see him play this year. Then I got Swift, who to me is such a home run hit for Miles Sanders was good for you guys. Swift is going to be even better for you guys.
Hopefully.
I think so. But I then go Robinson Jr. over Pollard, only for a couple of reasons. I think Robinson Jr., remember, he didn't get the notoriety he should have gotten last year because he missed half the season because he was the guy that got shot. So he missed some time last year.
That's right.
And then when he came back, what did he do? He balled out when he came back.
That's true.
Pollard, I don't know what that offense is going to look like with what if Zach doesn't come back?
Hey, that changes everything. We got to do this as if Zach is there. So Zach is there. So
all right. So if Zach is there and that offensive line is humming like they should be, then I put Pollard third. If he's not there, Pollard goes the fourth for me.
Yeah, without question, because he's not. He has no power. So he's going down with the tackle. Somebody gets a body on him. That's it. The
and like you said before, the offensive line runs as such a crew. It's such a gang. You take one guy out and it destroys the whole.
And it's the leader. Zach is the leader, and he's not even the left tackle. It's usually left tackle or center.
Right guard is the one that you least think about, and that's him.
And he's the leader. So yeah.
So there's that. So maybe I don't know what happened to is she? Let me see. No, she's completely out. All right, so hopefully she gets her internet back.
Right.
Let me see if she reached out on the phone yet. No. All right, so we'll skip ahead, and then if she gets back, we'll get her in time. We're almost done anyway. All right, so then we got. Oh, is that her? I heard it.
I am not sure what happened.
All right, so you got back just in time. So we were doing the NFC East running backs, and we already gave ours. So what's your list?
Oh, we all agreed Saquon was number one.
Yes.
I'm gonna go Tony Pollard, which I think Caleb said. I actually I don't know. I might switch it now, but I might pick Antonio Gibson and then pick DeAndre Swift next.
You gonna take Gibson over Robinson?
I went back and forth. I just think Gibson's a little more versatile a little bit, just watching him play. But, I mean, I was looking at the Commanders. Both those two are just – they got some really great options there.
I think both guys start on most teams.
Yeah. Did you have Robinson?
I had Robinson over Gibson. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and forth with it, but I could see why you went that way. You know what I mean?
He looked dynamic once he came back from that gunshot wound.
Yeah, and I actually was just watching. Popped up when he came out of the tunnel after returning, and he came out to like many men, and it was just like, oh, I didn't even know that. I'm like, this is perfect, but it was hyped. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was a whole unfortunate thing. But okay, who did you have in order then?
So I was Saquon, Swift, and then we kind of debated a little bit if it should be Pollard or Robinson, and because my thing was if that offensive line in Dallas isn't going to be all together there, then I put Pollard last. Pollard's talented as hell, but I just think those guys are just more talented. But if Zach not Wilson, I'm sorry, if Zach Martin's going to be there, then I do put Pollard third and Robinson last. But I have Swift second.
Okay, like that's decent.
You approve?
Yeah, I'm like, I approve. I'm like, it's the same four players we're talking about, so we're not too much like just
other
off
than
the rails.
Saquon,
You know what I mean?
you can really go in after Saquon. You can really go in any order, and there's really no reason. There's no wrong or right answer. I think
exactly.
Right. So, all right. So we'll get into the next one. I know we're about to wrap up soon. We're gonna wrap up a little early today. All right. So now we're gonna get into previewing the Chicago Bears. So what do we think? What's the outlook for the Chicago Bears this season, guys? Playoffs. Where are they going to finish the division? Do we have a record? What do we think with? You think they finished in last?
Yes,
I do too.
I think the other three are too strong. Like their offenses are too good. Because Detroit has a nice offense. Like they're not
Detroit's
bad.
Offenses, yeah, they're really good,
and they got a good defense. And I don't think Chicago is ready. Like I don't think they got a squad like to compete with those guys because. Green Bay is going to be good. Okay, Green Bay's weakest link is Love.
And he could end up being good.
Right. If he's halfway decent, they're going to do okay because the rest of the team is so strong. You know what I mean? And then, you know what Minnesota has. You can talk mess about Kirk Cousins all you want. He's going to get Justin Jefferson the football. And like their offense is gonna be fine. It's just, and if their defense does what you think they're gonna do, Gene, how is Chicago gonna compete with any of those three teams?
Fair.
Wait, have you guys started watching that quarterback show?
I haven't seen it
yet. Is it good?
I'm like about 4 episodes in. It goes throughout.
Did they
from
put the whole
February.
series up, or are they putting it up as
I don't know. They have 8 episodes, and it's already moving pretty quickly. So I think those are just going to be all the episodes, because on episode 4, they're already like at week 7 and stuff like that. But it really does. It follows Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and then Mariota. All very different journeys too. But it's been nice to kind of see Kirk Cousins. He's a likable guy. You know what I mean? He's just a standard looking like a Midwestern type of dude. So anyway, sorry, go on.
No, I didn't even know Mariota was still in the league.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's on the team this year.
So I don't know what happened. So it's going to go through his whole thing of Atlanta replacing him with Ritter later on in the half. I haven't hit that point yet, but we already know it's coming, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're looking to do, is great quarterbacks, good quarterbacks, mediocre quarterbacks. And I think every season that's probably what you'll see. You'll probably see a great and a good and a mediocre.
Mm-hmm. I remember Mariota at Oregon.
When you're the mediocre one, you're like, man, what? No, I ain't doing that damn show.
That's when the producers say, no, Mariota, it's not you. It's Cousins, the mediocre one.
Okay.
You know, you see little clips of Jackson Mahomes was in it one time, and I'm like, oh no more content with him. And then, you know, I find Pat's wife very annoying as well.
Yes.
Yeah, but she's in it a lot. She's in it a lot, and I'm like, she's like a focal point sometimes.
I don't like because they're trying to see if she can pop entertainment, right? Where people like her controversial, her whatever it is becomes entertaining, where people like it. So that's what they're doing there. Mm-hmm. I don't like that when you have the family members that are coming out acting as if they doing something, or that you care about what they think or something like that, especially when it comes to athletics and stuff, because it's like athletics is so pure based on the athlete, right? Like you can't do that. Why are you even talking like trolling and all of that? It's like shut up. You know what I mean? Like just be quiet. You know, so
pull back.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, what are we looking at? Like, do we think that they could be contenders for the first overall pick again this year?
Who?
I mean, do we think that bad, Chicago?
I could see it. I could see it.
Or do we see them taking a step up, top 5? But do we see them at the number 1 spot again?
No, because I think Fields he elevates a little this year. Yeah, and I see them honestly. They could win 5 games maybe, but they're still gonna be last. I mean, they won 3 games last year, so I'm giving them just an extra 2 on there. They're going to be a little more competitive, but I don't think they're going to be the number 1 pick. But
I have it 6-11 this year.
Who's worse in the NFL than Chicago? Like, who would we say? And I'm thinking because I'm just putting that because I'm thinking.
I mean, the Cardinals could be worse again.
Okay.
If Houston doesn't, if Houston's young players don't develop, they
I
could
don't
be.
see that.
Houston, I think, has the higher ceiling out of all the teams we're talking about.
I just think D'Amico Ryans is better than that. And I just think those young players, I don't see Houston doing that. But I don't even think Carolina. I think Carolina's going to do better.
I like that. Yeah, I'm starting to like that quarterback more and more I see of him.
Cardinals, the Bears, who else are like
Indianapolis could have a tough year if Anthony Richardson doesn't get it in soon enough.
True.
Or if the learning curve just takes a little bit longer for him.
Right.
But then again, Gardner Minshew can win some games for you. So I don't even know if I feel fair saying.
Do you think if Garoppolo gets hurt that the Raiders can tank?
Yes.
You know what?
100%.
Hey, it could, because not just could they tank if he gets hurt, but they don't have Josh Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're going to see how valuable a running back is when his ass ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because it puts way more pressure on Devontae, because teams can now double him. You don't have to put 8 in the box to stop Jacobs. So now, you know what I mean? That changes up everything.
I also think if they don't stay healthy, they need a maximum health to at least be relevant. I think the Rams could have a really bad year this year. I know we're not talking
right.
Them too.
but let's face it. I'm blanking. Who defensive tackle? Who?
Donald?
Yeah, Aaron Donald. If he's banged up at all this year, I mean, good luck to that team. They only lost players. I can see that. I could see them being a top 5 pick next year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Just a couple of years away from the Super Bowl.
Because we know there's going to be 3 other teams. Because we're picking Chicago and the Rams, right? There's going to be 3 other teams that we're not seeing right now that are going to be right there.
Yeah, and I you know what? And you call it, the Raiders could really be that team.
Yeah, they can. That's a good call from Abby because they definitely can. One Garoppolo injury away.
Yeah. Or Adams. If Adams is gone, forget about it.
Oh, right. Yeah, but he'll be there, I think.
Yeah. So what would be your guess for the Chicago Bears record wise? If you had a guess.
Me?
Yeah. Give me a guess on wins. Like say under over 5.
Yeah, I give them 6 wins.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I put them, 6 wins. I think they take a couple of games right there. All right. So now we got the Houston Texans. I know we were all just talking about them. What do we think? How much of a jump do they? I think we all think they're going to be better this year. How much of a jump do they make?
How many wins did they have last season? 4?
I think
3.
3? Okay, 3.
3, 13, and 1.
I think they get to 6 or 7 wins this year. Like I'm predicting that, and it could be higher depending if they really ball, right? But I think they can get to 7 wins like this year. I think D'Amico Ryans gets them 4 more wins.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got them at that, Abby?
I mean, honestly, it's the Jags, and then everyone just chasing them.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to I think Houston's going to compete this year. I can see them. I don't really think they're going to finish last. I think that division's going to be an up and down, crazy back and forth. But they have a good O-line. They have a good set of weapons.
Yep.
You're now just kind of hoping that, Stroud develops into the guy that you think he is, the one that you picked at 2. But I think with Ryans as a head coach, they're easily, for me, I picked
They
Chicago
need some receivers,
Bears.
though.
Well, they got that
Mechie?
They picked up Robert Woods.
Yeah,
you got Nico
Robert Woods hasn't been relevant
there,
for a few
but
for a few
Damian
years.
Pierce, their running back is
I love him. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Right. So
did they get Dalton Schultz?
They did get Schultz.
Oh yeah, that is right. Mm-hmm. So
Like that,
it's not
tight
like
end helps. A good tight end
especially a young quarterback.
Yeah, it's not the best lineup, but it's not like they don't have nobody. You know what I mean? They have people that can do stuff, but Chicago, I had them at 5 wins. And I would pick Houston at 6 or 7 at least.
I'll tell you what Houston needs to do. Can I tell you what Houston needs to do? Because they have some good pieces in some places. They need to tank and go get Marvin Harrison Jr. next year. Could you imagine Marvin Harrison Jr. with his college quarterback, C.J. Stroud?
Damn.
I didn't even think of that.
You set that lineup up years to come with those two. Damian Pierce is your young running back. Got a defense offensive line. You're building that defense. If they have another bad year, it wouldn't be a complete failure. If they had a chance to get Marvin Harrison Jr., that team is going to look sick in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next 2 years from after this year, I mean to say. So next 3 years. I wouldn't be surprised if every team in this division goes 7 after the Jaguars finishes 7-10, ties 7-10. All 3 of them.
What if the Jags have a bad season though?
It wouldn't be surprising. Jags could be one of those teams that bounces back.
One of the things about the NFL that's so crazy, this is how we get the other teams that we're not seeing. Injuries.
Yes.
Change everything. You know what I mean? Like, how good is my team if Jalen Hurts is hurt?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So I was like, who's the backup?
Exactly.
It was Minshew, but now I don't know who it is.
Minshew. It's somebody else now. I forgot his who is it? Damn it, I'm blanking on it. Patty, who's the backup for us for Hurts on the Eagles?
Do you have it on the depth chart? Yeah, just put it up on the screen for us when you get it.
But my point is that's what makes football so interesting because it's such a violent game. An injury could change everybody's season immediately. The Bills are nothing if Stephon Diggs goes down, if Josh Allen goes down, if you know what I mean, and you don't even have to be career-ending injury. It could just be 6 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. You know, like that's what makes it so interesting is what the injuries, because like the Chargers were depleted last year on defense because of injuries. They lost Mack, they lost Bosa. Like those guys are back this year. You know what I mean? So like the fates of teams rest on health in the NFL, in every sport, but more so in the NFL because it's such a violent game. You know, so like,
am I reading this right? That Mariota is the backup?
Did they sign Mariota?
Signed him to a 1-year deal.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
There you go. Patty just threw it up here. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, all right.
Marcus has
At
a
least
job.
because he's a running quarterback. Like he can kind of still do what Jalen
You can win
does.
games with Marcus Mariota if you need. With that squad around him, he might
He's
be able
not horrible.
Listen, in that division too, he might still be like, the second best quarterback in that division otherwise.
He could.
So, all right. So now we're going to our last topic for the day, guys. Arizona Cardinals. This is my number 1 seed, my number 1 draft pick next year.
It's a rebuild. It's a full rebuild. They might even try to trade Kyler Murray.
Can they trade him? I feel like that contract isn't tradable.
They well, yes and no.
You can have a coach thinking that they can fix him.
Yeah, and I don't think there's too much wrong with Murray. I actually like him. I think he's good.
I'm not a fan.
Why?
I don't.
He
I think
runs too much. He's too short.
Not even that. I don't. I feel like he's a little bit of a. I feel like he's a little smug. Like there was a couple of things that he did. I thought like off the video game stuff. Like I get it, man. You like video games, but pay attention to the playbook first.
Right.
There was the time where when he was doing that something with a Make-A-Wish kid and he was flirting with the kid's mom. So that was a little bit much.
Hey, you ain't see Bill Murray in Kingpin when Bill Murray was
Great movie, great call
when
out.
he was getting at the mom right there with the kid, like, hey, it's part of it, man.
There's just something about Murray that just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know.
No, I get it. Some personalities people don't vibe with, but I like him. I think he's really talented. It's unfortunate, but I do agree with you. I know what you mean. I mean, shit, a lot of people don't like A-Rod, your quarterback. A lot of people think he is the smuggest of the smug.
I didn't want him.
I love him.
To be honest, Abby knows. I told Abby this. I didn't want him at first. I wanted Derek Carr over him.
He was my number 1, dude.
He wasn't mine at all. I did
wanted
not like
Carr
him. I'd rather Derek Carr over because I just do not. Listen, he's my quarterback now, and I'm
yeah, I already know that you're in.
But before that, like I'm in. But before he was my quarterback, I kind of was like, I don't want him. I don't like him. He's a jerk. But he lied about the whole like lying about being vaccinated thing. Where
no, he didn't lie. He just answered the question, not how the media wanted him. He's like,
I appreciate you sticking up for him, Abby, but we know what he did. He didn't lie, but we know what he did.
He didn't lie. He just didn't tell the truth.
He just didn't.
No, he answered the question, just not as thoroughly. But if you want a specific question, ask the right question. Then you know what I mean.
There it is.
That's fair. That's fair statement.
Honestly, from TikTok, I've learned that people hate Aaron Rodgers. They come to my page just to comment how much they hate him. And I'm like, dude, it's not on your team anymore. What are you worried about?
Yeah.
Why you little? Yeah. And then someone told me yesterday when they posted a picture in his jersey, he looks 50 years old. I'm like, oh, get out of here. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He does not look like 60 years old. No, he doesn't.
Let me tell you something. I'll be the first. I will be the first to turn on him if he doesn't have a good season. I will be the first. I'm
sure you will.
I am not a Rodgers fan until this year. I like I said, I was never a Rodgers fan. I made my peace with it. He's my quarterback, so I'm in this year. But if he has a rough start.
Remember,
is my microphone messed up? I keep hearing. You guys hear that?
Yeah, it went in and out. It was echoing a little. But what I was going to say is this. What I said on Tuesday, people hate hype, right? So you know how many people are rooting to see the Jets fail this season? Oh, Abby's frozen. I can't hear you. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you were muted. But what I was saying is, do you know how many people are rooting for the Jets to fail this year? People hate hype.
Yeah,
like they want to see them fall flat on their faces. A lot do.
They do. And you know what? Again, like I said, I'm rooting for him because he's my quarterback. I'm a Rodgers fan now because he's my quarterback. But he has to. He better put it together this year, because I will be the first to be like, see, I knew he wasn't the guy, because I did think he wasn't the guy at first. I did want some of the other guys. Do we get Abby back? I heard
Don't ask what's going on.
Well, we're almost done, so we got right to the end. So yeah, I was just basically saying that I'm not a Rodgers fan. That that's it is what it is.
So to take it back to the Cardinals, I think they finished last in their division.
Oh yeah,
I think they finished last in the league.
Yeah.
That is very true.
I can even go that far too, Gene. Like, yeah, and that's with no injury.
Yeah.
Right.
No more draft picks.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I agree.
All right.
They have no offense now.
Yeah, no D-Hop. That defense wasn't too much to write home about before. The offensive right now,
it got worse.
And if you like the kid at the quarterback, he's not going to be there for the foreseeable future too. So, it is what it is. But all right, so that's going to do it for today. We're wrapping up a little early. Let's go around the horn and say the last words of the day. Abby, last words of the day.
I've been lately, like, it's honestly been the last 2 months where I've been listening to this quote over and over, and I say it every day, but what's meant for you won't miss you. So just keep that in mind. Whatever's meant for you will come and find you either now, in the future, or sometime. So if you're chasing a dream or something, keep shooting.
There you go.
1,000%. I couldn't agree with that more. I believe that wholeheartedly. What's yours, you can't lose what's yours, and you can't have what's not.
Good point.
Good point. Spread love is the Brooklyn way, y'all. Enjoy the day. I'm gonna enjoy this beautiful weather here in LA. I'm gonna stay inside because it's I think it's set on hell. I think Satan is in my swimming pool. Hey.
It's a scorcher. I think it's a scorcher all over the country right now, man. So
yeah, it's biblical heat out here.
Yeah, guys, go stay in the AC if you can, or get in a pool if you can, or go to just stay cool if you can. For Caleeb, Abby, I am G FitzMagic. Guys, this is the pop-off. Thank you so much. We'll see. I can't talk today, man. Have a great today and better tomorrow. We will see you on Tuesday.
That's the pop-off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.